All right. Well, good evening. This is Larry Beacham, and I am the host of the Millionaire Marketing Mega-Summit, the 8-week webcast event starting on October 8th this year. And tonight I have the distinct pleasure and honor to interview our keynote speaker. This young lady I met through a mutual contact and had no clue of what I was being referred to. Amongst many of her accomplishments, my favorite is what she's done over the last 10 years as it relates to creating an opportunity for herself in the media world by amassing, get this, $50 million in the last 10 years of free TV publicity. That blows me away every time I see that number. So I want to take a moment and interview this young lady and dig into really where her power comes from, and also give you one more reason why you need to participate in this event that's coming up. So without further ado, let me introduce to most of you for the first time, Mogul Fran Harris. Fran, are you there?
I am. Hey, Larry. How are you? Hi, everybody.
I'm blessed. I'm getting excited just to get started on this interview. So as I shared with everyone, this will be a short blast. This will be about a 10-minute interview. So let's just get right into it. Are you okay with that?
Let's do it.
All right, excellent. So, Fran, let's just start with the beginning. I mean, most of the people that are on my list don't know you at all, so why don't you just give us a fast and furious breakdown of who you are?
Great. You know, we live in a vast world of amazing possibilities, and I'm always thrilled and honored to be on the call with people who have never heard of me. And most people would be like, oh, you've never heard of me. But I'm like, that's beautiful to me, because once you start to get introduced to some of the stuff I'm going to share with you, not just tonight, but when we do the Mega Summit, you're going to see that there's so many possibilities out there for you. I'm a girl who grew up in Texas, grew up in Dallas, Texas, played basketball at the University of Texas at Austin. And if you saw us play football this weekend, don't hold that against me. But I played basketball on a scholarship, played for a national championship team at Texas, and really got introduced to media as a basketball player at Texas, because we had one of the premier programs in the country at the time. And so I got the opportunity to be behind the camera and see what was so exciting about being in the world of television. Now, a few years after that, I played on the Houston Comets' first WNBA championship team in 1997, and then from there retired and went further into broadcasting as an announcer for ESPN, also while running my own marketing and business agency. So I can say that my athletic history really propelled me to a different level of television, giving me the opportunity to go, you know, probably where most people can't go immediately out of college, to ESPN. But then me having the foresight later on to say, okay, I'm not going to play basketball forever. What is it that I want to do with the rest of my life? And I've always been someone who's enjoyed talking, speaking, coaching, and those kinds of things, and media was just home for me. It felt like the right fit for me. So I feel really blessed to have found a home with ESPN when I was in school, when I was in college, and then continued to build just my company's empire over the last 10 or 11 years.
Awesome stuff. Now, I happen to see you with Russell Simmons. I've seen you on your own TV show on HGTV called Home Rules, which I actually sat and watched an entire episode of, which I was pretty pumped up about. I saw you on Good Morning America in their guru competition. I saw you being interviewed. You've been pretty much everywhere, and that's what really excites me, is because for my people especially, we don't really know what it's like to have the power of publicity in the way that you've been able to generate, leverage us in a way that creates value and give us a completely new angle of expertise. So where did you come up with the idea to dig in so deeply into media and get access to all of this free publicity that you've been able to get?
I think it really started when I was a basketball player, you know, going to the Jack in the Box on campus and people saying, hey, I know you played for the Longhorns, that kind of stuff. And I was remembering thinking, that's kind of interesting. You know, when you're in the world, you don't see it the way people outside the world are seeing it. And so it's like, I'm sort of a celebrity in my own little, you know, enclave on campus. And I started to realize that if I were doing this around the sport of basketball, what could I do, you know, once I stepped outside of the arena, once I stepped outside of shooting that last jump shot? And so I went to grad school in Texas, and then for about 3 or 4 years worked for Procter & Gamble. Simultaneously, people, you know, don't realize this, I was actually, as a sales executive for P&G, I was also working for ESPN. and started to really understand the influence that I was having and the reach that I had simply by being in millions of households every day. So when I left Procter & Gamble in 1995 to start my own company, my own marketing boutique, I had celebrity in my back pocket that I didn't realize because I'd been on television. So what that means is when I would walk in and say, hey, I'm looking to do sales training with Pepsi or Coke, because I had the influence and the celebrity of having been on television and been in the newspaper and been on radio, I walked into a different scenario. I was given a different level of acceptance simply because of the publicity that I got. And that was in 1995, and I said, okay, I get it. I get it. When you're in the newspaper, when you're on radio, when you're on television, when you're now that you're online, you have a different level of exposure, a different level of expertise, a different level of notoriety that you really need to tap into. And that's what we're going to talk about in the Mega Summit in a few weeks.
Absolutely. So, tangibly speaking, what has all of that done for you? What's the most shining example of an accomplishment that you've been able to point to from being able to amass this publicity, or what you call the celebrity publicity, which I love? You know, what's one of the most exciting and most telling thing that has happened for you since you've been able to sort of realize what you've realized and gone after mastering that? You know, give us an idea of what that's done for you a little deeper.
Well, you think of the access. There are a couple of things. The first thing I want to say is people always say, well, really, how do you turn publicity into money? And that's such a great question. In fact, that's what you're alluding to is like, what does it do for you to be on television and on the radio and in the newspaper and in magazines? Nothing if you don't know how to spin it. Nothing if you don't know what to do with it. But I knew that you could translate that into bigger fees. So, every time I'm on television, I add another zero to my speaking fees. I add another digit to my speaking fees because that's what people expect. If you've been in the newspaper, if you've been on radio, if you've been on television, they don't expect to get you for $500. They don't expect to get you for $1,200. They expect you to reel off a five-figure speaking fee, a six-figure speaking fee. So for me, it's meant larger consulting fees, larger coaching fees, higher product prices, access to celebrities like Julia Roberts and Russell Simmons and Diddy. I mean, that's what happens because you start to play at a whole different level. And again, think about this. You guys on the line with me have never heard of me. You may remember, as Larry said, you may have remembered maybe the Good Morning America thing a couple of years ago. I was in the Final Four from 15,000 applicants. If you think a little bit, you probably can remember that. But the reality is it doesn't matter that you don't know me. It absolutely doesn't matter. And therefore, it doesn't matter that people won't know you after you start getting your own publicity, your own mix of radio and magazine. And all that matters is that you can say, as seen on Good Morning America, as seen on the Today Show, as seen on the Cleveland Plain Dealer. It doesn't matter. You will start to be able to cash in immediately on your celebrity, even if that celebrity is at a local level, and that's what I'm going to be teaching you in a couple of weeks.
You got my heart racing. You have no idea. You have my heart. I feel like I drank 3 Red Bulls just in the last minute. Because, I get it. I really get it. I get the fact that as soon as somebody sees my face on the screen or hears my voice on radio, they're going to automatically assume something that I want them to assume for all the reasons you just described. So, as we wrap up this interview, the event or the thing that you're speaking on is called the Celebrity Publicity Secrets, which is how to grow your business, build influence, and become a rock star in your niche with free print, radio, and TV exposure. So my last question is, why should everybody listening to this drop whatever they're doing on the day that you're coming to the event? And you can find that out by going to our site in a minute. Why should they be there? Why should they drop everything they're doing? Why should they reschedule their life? Why should they focus on what you're going to be bringing to this conference?
Because the reality is becoming a celebrity means more influence, more leads and clients, and more money, more money. That's the reality. So whether you want one of those or all 3 of those, celebrity, whether it's local or at a national level, will afford you that. So whatever you're doing right now in your life, you and I know you're not the only one doing it. So there has to be some separation in the marketplace. And celebrity is that, it's that game changer. It's the thing that says, okay, I'm looking at hiring 2 speakers. I got this person or I got this person who's been in their newspaper, who I hear on the radio every single week, who I've seen on Good Morning America. I wonder who I'm going to pick. There's no question. There's not even a decision to make. when you separate yourself as a celebrity, and I want y'all to get comfortable with that, you are a celebrity. When you separate yourself as a celebrity, the whole game changes. You don't fight for fees. You don't fight for clients because people want to be near you. They want to touch the hem of your garment. That's just the way it is. So that's why you need to drop everything, rearrange your life, make sure you're on this call, because I'm going to show you, I'm going to spill it and show you how you can start to become a local celebrity in the next 30 days and watch what that does to your life and your bank account. And,
oh, by the way, it's our favorite four-letter word, free.
Exactly.
So I want everyone on this call to go to marketingmegasummit.com. That's marketingmegasummit.com. Go there right now and register for the event and get a seat, and also download. I have amassed from not only Fran but several of the other speakers about $290 worth of free value. And let me just say, Fran's free giveaway is worth it, period. If I didn't do anything else, her MP3 entitled The $100,000 That You Left on the Table Last Year, if you listen to that and you don't walk away with more income just from that knowledge alone, you're just not ready.
You don't want it.
You don't really want it. You really don't.
Yeah.
You really don't. So, Fran, listen, it's been 10 minutes. I wanted to be punctual and precise, and I appreciate your time. I want to give you an opportunity to close out this interview and just share a few final thoughts, and then we'll conclude. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. When I talked to one of my JV partners a couple of years ago, and we were talking about TV publicity in particular, and this is a multimillionaire as well, and it was interesting to hear her say, the reason people won't pursue television publicity is because they don't think they can do it. And that just blew my mind, y'all, because I don't have any special skills that would enable me to get on television. What I do have is extraordinary hustle. I do. And so the last thing I want to say is you're going to be exposed to some amazing people in Larry's event. And, Larry, thank you so much for putting this together. But what you're going to have to do when you leave that event, when you're fired up, when your heart is racing, is to have extraordinary hustle. If there's one thing that distinguishes me in the marketplace, it is I have a get up and go that never quits. So it's not just about being a pretty face or being handsome or being good at what you do. You got to work when nobody else is working. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all again in a couple of weeks on the Mega-Summit.
Excellent. Once again, that's marketingmegasummit.com. Go there now. Grab your ticket to be at this event. Download your almost $300 worth of free bonuses, and we will see you then. Thanks again so much, Fran, for your time. This interview is a wrap. God bless everybody.
Good night, everybody.